Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dream Team Tonic podcast. Hope you're having a nice international break. Myself, Tony, and Ben are joined by a very special guest today. We've got the ultimate fantasy manager, as per the Fantasy Football Hub's mini league. We've got James Ingram with us today. How you doing, James?
Yeah, not too bad. Got yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. What about you guys? All good? Ben?
Yeah, all good, mate. Looking forward to this one.
Hanging?
Yeah, I'm rough, mate, but we get through these things, don't we? We get through. Just have another.
That's how we get through international break, is it?
Yeah, I've got American football on now.
Oh, barely watch England, to be honest. But we'll introduce James. I said you're the ultimate fantasy manager, but what does that entail officially? Because you had some cracking ranks last year.
Yeah, so obviously Fergie and Paul do the Ultimate Fantasy League, which was for FPL, Sun, Telegraph, and the Sky game last year. So yeah, had very good ranks in all four of them, and was able to win out of I think 50 people. So yeah, not too bad. All good ranks. 15k FPL, 160, 180th in the Sun game. Obviously first in the Telegraph and top. I think it was like 51st, I think, in the Sky game. So yeah, not too bad. Everything went well, so that helped.
Not
they use the same model all across all games. So if one game's going well, it's likely that every game's going well. So yeah,
that's one of the things we wanted to mostly ask. We've got a few questions for you, sort of around your approach to fantasy football. And then we'll come on to our Patreon members' questions a little bit later. But yes, so you've done really, really well across all formats last season. How did you first start getting into fantasy football? How long have you been playing? And then maybe how long have you been taking it seriously, I suppose?
Yeah, so I think I've been playing fantasy football for 20 years. I remember doing it just before we left school in the old way. And then really FPL has been the last 10 years. And then I'd been doing Sky for a long time, and the Sun game like the last 6-7 years, and it was just before COVID, and was trying to do like FPL review came up like a few years before COVID, and then so they had the optimization of the models, and then Certal from FPL Optimize came out and was doing the optimization from there. And I thought, well, if you can do that in FPL, I can create my own models in the other games and use optimization and just trying to max out your expected points in all those games based on the parameters you have. So you have like 4 different spreadsheets across all the games and like the same like data you have for all the teams. So that was why it went well last year, because obviously the whole data is the same. The models are slightly different, mainly because of the points. And obviously the Sun games, you get different bonus points compared to Sky. But yeah, it just all worked well. All the players are roughly had the same players in every team. So then it all came together. And yeah, you can always tell if like I said earlier, you have one good game, you probably play all good 4 games. Whereas this year it's been quite bad in all 4 games because I have the same players and obviously they're all not performing.
I guess like data... from what I've seen online, like the data sort of analytics crowd seem to have had a fairly slow start, haven't they, to the season? Anyway, haven't they, in some circles, especially with
FPL? Yeah. I guess it's just variance, we all call it. A bit of luck. The last year was quite lucky, and then this year it's not as lucky, I guess.
You said, I think I read in your article on the Hub that like patience was one of your strong points when it comes to like your planning and stuff. Do you think that will like level out then if you keep following the models?
I think so, yeah. Like I always have confidence in the model, so I always have to be patient, because it's like you always think, right, if it started being you get negative luck at the beginning, it's going to weigh out at the end of the year to good luck. So I don't try and change too much. Suddenly if I'm like miles behind, and that's one thing that's the tip I would definitely say is don't change your process. Always have I said in the Hub article, it's like in my spreadsheets have this big, just trust the process, trust the spreadsheet. that's what I try and do. So even though things are going bad, don't try and be like, knee jerk and try and change things. There's a reason why I've done it all. So you just got to trust the process. And there are going to be years when everyone has a bad season, aren't they? I guess this year might be my bad season. Can't complain after last year, though, I guess.
Yeah, you boys, like Ben and Tony, you've been playing like Telegraph yourselves quite a long time, haven't you? I've not got to grips with the patience side of things for that game.
Yeah, I started it about, I think 3 seasons ago. I started playing Telegraph. Obviously playing all formats, and the Dream Team has always been the main one for me. It's if I had a good start or something to roll with within the other formats, then I'd carry it on, kind of thing. But where did I finish? I finished 6th, didn't I? It's 6 the other season.
What, Telegraph?
2 years ago. Yeah.
2 years ago, I finished 6th. Yeah. So I had a good doing it. I've had an all right start this season. I do enjoy Telegraph. I think it's a good format, but it's very slow at the beginning. Not wanting to spend transfers and stuff, and it takes obviously second half of the season. Then that's when Telegraph really gets going. But yeah, good game. What
was it last season on Dream Team? 160 for you there.
I think it was 160. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 160.
Decent. Sorry, Ben, cut you off there.
No, I was just going to say I've only been playing it about 3 or 4 years as well. I think it was more like seeing Fergie doing pods on Sky and Telegraph, and then that's how I really got into it, really, because I never heard of Sky or Telegraph. Well, I had a Telegraph, but never got into that. Dream Team's always been the game for me since I was little. I remember just doing teams out of the newspaper, obviously not sending them away, but trying to make a team, and that with players like Ian Hart in it. He used to take free kicks. Yeah, but and obviously FPL back in the day with the football team. They always used to have a FPL team.
I really like listening to that FPL optimized pod with Sir Talpan. Is it Bass?
Yeah.
But I'd consider myself more like him. He's the grass manager, isn't he? He calls himself. And I imagine you sort of find yourself as more of the analytic approach there.
Yeah.
So how would you
Sir Talp was really... Sorry, Scott.
No, that's right. What was you going to say, Sir Talp?
I was going to say Sir Talp was really helpful, because it must have been... I was pestering him so many times, asking him loads of questions about how I'm trying to create certain models and doing the optimization. So probably owe him quite a bit of a... I know everyone knows over last week. I owe him quite a few drinks, I think, because he's big help. It helps. The brother-in-law is quite a good FPL manager, and he's got his mathematical background, so he's good to bounce ideas off as well, because he finished 5th or 6th in the Bet365 game last year. Once they won quite a bit of money in that. Oh, nice. So it was quite good money winnings last year in the family.
So is he an analytics based manager, or is he? Yeah, he's
analytics as well. So we're both in the elite 64, if you want the analytics world. Not for long.
So I can only speak for myself, but Ben and Tony, you wouldn't really call yourself analytical managers, would you?
No, the thing is, anyway. you try obviously you bring analytics into your equations, and when you're picking players, we all look at stats. We're all looking one, for example, just how well a player previously performed against a certain team, because obviously he's up against maybe the same defenders, stuff like that. Do you know, if I were to go full hog and go full analytics, I think for me, just this is obviously my personal opinion, it would take the fun out of my picks. I wouldn't feel like they're my picks. I just feel like they're obviously the model. I know obviously with analytics, obviously you create the model, so it's your model, and they are your picks. But just for the feel, I'm like one of them punty people where I want to have a feel for that player that week, kind of thing. Not. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I just feel like I like to watch a game and go, "Do you know what? He's doing all right." And there might not be much substance or stats behind the feeling I'm getting. But then if I put him in next week and he does great, it's like, yeah, I knew that. Or I've done well there. That's a good pick. Whereas I just feel if a spreadsheet was telling it me, I wouldn't get that excitement behind it. That's just obviously my opinion. Obviously, the analytics to the people that go off the by eye and all that stuff, it's two different ways of playing the games. But yeah,
Sure, the
just my
excitement comes with
opinion.
winning, though, don't it?
That's true. And obviously with the analytics and stuff, I mean, obviously James finished first in Telegraph last year. It works. It's bang on. And it's probably a much safer, more thought out way of doing things, I'd say. But yeah, just everyone has their own way of playing, don't they?
Have you got any tips for us for like we're not gonna be building models? Well, I'm speaking for myself.
I'm writing down. I'm waiting for James to tell us.
I could just about put a spreadsheet together. But like, if we did want to improve like our analytical side of things, what sort of direction would you sort of point us into? Like, what things go into your model first, potentially?
Well, so I use, again, setup was good. So I use FPL reviews data for like your XG, your XA, clean sheets, and then really it's a lot of FBref stats, downloading all of them. Like obviously you got last year's stats, this year's stats, so it's every week. Downloading that and just kind of weighting certain. I try to speak to a lot of people in the analytical world of Twitter to try and get ideas of how you weight kind of certain things. So obviously more recent stats are from there. So literally it's like every FBref page you can get of like possession, classes, and you just it's like a whole spreadsheet full of 18 months worth of data, and it's just like each week, and you can just like weight it all, and then every player now would get like a 90 of big chances a game, dribbles, etc., and it all feeds through, and then you just kind of go kind of use a Poisson distribution, getting out my maths formulas now if you ever wanted to know that, which is kind of like how you do clean sheets. Try and do that, and just do a lot of formulas. But I've worked with spreadsheets all my life, so it's kind of like second nature. I think that's why I kind of used to when FPL review came out, was just always doing a lot of, like, I was a grass manager, so I just watched a lot of games and did it, and then just slower watched less games, and I was like, well, I can do spreadsheets. I kind of like, and Fantasy Football Scout used to have their own data and their own expected points. So I started using that and trying to manually do it, and then kind of going through there. But definitely FBref is the place to go for everything, which is good. And then using that, and then FF stuff's been really good as well to use all the data and just it all measures into one. So one spreadsheet for each game. So it's some few long hours on a Friday night.
How do you go about the European ties, though? For example, like I'm guessing you take expected minutes as well from like FBref. How would you do that?
So expected minutes I use from review as well, which I think quite for the other games, a few of the other analytical guys do. So I use that, but for really, that's where it's probably why I'm not as good in the Sun game compared to others, because that's me trying to use my kind of my own knowledge and going, well, you think in the Champions League, we're going to play mainly the best teams, so it's roughly going to be the same average of minutes. I kind of like try and see what the expected average minutes of a player is over the next 8 weeks in the Premier League, and kind of weight that for what the player is going to be. And then obviously the Conference League is quite easy with Chelsea. They're likely to change a whole team. And then Europa League's a bit being funny because like Man United likely play their full strength team, whereas Tottenham have been a bit like rotating a bit. So it's just trying to, obviously past experience works well, or past years data to have a look. But that's always the one which is the tricky one, and it's much more a bit of luck if I do well on those ones. So I think I probably overweighted the Tottenham people too much, probably because I just thought they play a strong team. And obviously they haven't, but obviously didn't help too bad because I think Madison came on, didn't he, for like the last 20 odd minutes. I think the last game still scored quite well.
Yeah, it's hard to know because like we think they might potentially go stronger in the next one as well, don't we? But I guess before we come on to like the game week 8 fixtures, you lads got any analytics based questions or any questions for James?
So, well, just judging on, so you bring the Spurs up with, obviously, your model would have said, which I think we all thought as well, that they'd go quite strong. So does that affect it now in the next time? Are you gonna? Would you override what it's telling you off the back of? Do you know what I mean? If it's saying, well, no, because they've got 2 games, you've got Kulusevski or Maddison, whoever it might be. Would you override the system and go, well, actually, I'm not going to put them in this week because I don't believe they're going to play?
Yeah, I do that. So I do override really anything. The minutes is the one I would tweak myself if I didn't agree with certain minutes that came through. I'd go, I don't think that looks right. And you try and kind of look at team news or like past experience to see what they are. So I do tweak those minutes, but then when I've tweaked the minutes and run the solver, if they come out, then, you can try to, that's where kind of like you can do the sensitivity stuff, which I don't do. But, it's like you get to a point if Kulusevski was on 70 minutes for you playing in Europe, he would be in. But if he was anything like 60 minutes or less, he wouldn't be. And then you kind of just go, well, do I think he's likely to play 60 minutes or not? Yes, I'll bring him in, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's so much harder with Europe. You just can't gauge.
Yeah,
it's even harder now with the more games this year. You think maybe like City or Arsenal. Well, you think if they get through further, like after 6 games and near the top, they would rest the players. But you probably will they not now because of how the league's different. So it's all, you're never going to get it right. It's just trying to kind of like try and maybe cover yourself with like the best players potentially.
Yeah, Ben.
No. Let's crack on with the questions.
We'll see how the teams differ as well. Before we move it on, quick shout out to some of the guys in the chat. So Nobble's asking, is this where he comes to learn how to play Dream Team? Miss Snoopy's there. Mr. H, Andy Barnett, Nathan Wisby, Blevner, Gaz, Ian. And that's it for this evening. This is live with our Patreon members. But if you're watching this later on, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Let's have a look at these teams. We'll start with you, James. You're our guest. 74 for the week. How's the season going? How's the week gone?
Season not too well. I forgot to do my transfers in game week 2. Well, I didn't forget, but I'll call it a technical issue. It didn't happen, so I missed Haaland's hat trick. So I'm kind of like, I've lost like the 2 transfers. Well, you won, but you lost the Haaland, so I'm kind of playing catch up. And I kind of don't really focus too much on the team value. So my team value is not the greatest. I think it's like 44.7. But I brought him in Bremo this week, which was that week. So that was quite a good touch. So the thing is trying to whether to keep him in this week or not. But kind of my model likes Tottenham, so double Tottenham defence, which obviously didn't go well. But Maddison and Solanke, so it was all right. And obviously captained the wrong. It was really close between Saka and Haaland in my model, so it was just a minutes thing. But I think I went on the safety side and thought everyone would captain Haaland, so captained him, but obviously did the wrong. But I think Calafiori was a good pick as well, actually, because I think his minutes are increasing up and he's kind of very good with high minutes in the model, so not too bad. And then just a dilemma what I do next week now. Did you have to tweak his minutes yourself or with Calafiori, for example? Because it was a bit unsure, wasn't it, with Timber, for example? Yeah, and I think there was a few injuries, wasn't there? So I think his minutes went up a bit, and then with that, then you kind of tweaked the Europe ones to go up, and then with him likely to play both, then it just become a no-brainer of what I could afford. It was a quite good value for what he was at the time. So, that's why he came in. He did me well last week and the week before. Nice.
So did you not have Haaland at all for that hat trick?
Yeah, not the game week 2. Yeah, I didn't have him at the beginning because I was waiting. That spent me about an hour of my time on the deadline before, just an hour on whether I have Haaland at the start or not. Didn't go with him. The plan was to get him in game week 2. Then obviously didn't have him because the transfers didn't go through, I say.
That happened to me last season, mate. The second game week, the transfers didn't go through.
I don't know.
I've heard a lot of it this season.
I think it's just I think it was my error, just messing around, because my model just doesn't like having Salah and Haaland together. At the start, it didn't like having both of them, and I know a lot of them were like, all of you were going, having both Salah and Haaland, and my model kept pushing, going, no, you can get better value elsewhere in midfield. So then I think I was probably just playing around with it in game week 2, going, well, if I want to get Salah out, what could I do? Kind of, if I want to keep Salah in, what could I do and stuff. And I thought I did my transfers. Obviously not. That was the best thing, walking around the supermarket when the game uploaded, going, oh shit. Well, have I still got where's Haaland? Oh no. It only cost me 9 points, I think, in the end. But it's just the fact you're just a week behind and you've just lost a bit, so you're forever playing catch up.
Yeah.
Any sneak peeks? Who the model's suggesting this week, or is that under wraps? It's a bit competitive.
I might be playing the goals boost potentially. So it all depends what I'm doing there. But if I am, it's likely another Tottenham player, like Brennan Johnson. I think that's what's coming out. But it all depends if I play the goals boost or not. It depends what's happening. So it all probably depends on Saka's injury, I think, if he's fit or not.
So with boosters, then with boosters and then like using your model, is the boosters just vibesy, like you just or like you're fancying it, or is your model telling you like, oh, the expected points in these weeks looks like it could be smaller than this week, for example?
Yeah, I think last year was with the like the what was it called last year? Where the part of the bus. So that was easy to model because you could just put in like that was easy to model, and it came out with the best time to do. With the goal boost, it's a bit harder because you want to set out when certain weeks where the goals are higher. But next week just looks like most of the big clubs have got 2 fixtures and they've got decent fixtures, and the XP that week, the expected points that week, looks like the highest out of the next like 8-9 weeks, and it looks a good week to do. Whereas the other ones, you kind of just look and go, right, am I missing a player who's got like a really big XP to bring in as your 12th man, and then max captain again? Is a lot of like 5-6 players all around closely where the XP is quite close for each of them, and then you kind of go, oh, I'll just reduce the risk and take max captain. That's what I kind of did last year, and it worked fairly well.
That's interesting. Do you want to run through yours, Tony?
Yeah, have a quick run through. Dog's barking at back door. Dog's waited for me to come on live on pod, and then decided I want to go out for a pee.
Should we go first?
No, you're all right. I'll have a quick run through. She can wait. Punishment. Another decent week, really. 82 could have been better. I know we were on the live stream, weren't we, Scott? And I was so close. I should have done Saka. I should have just gone. I should have gone with it, but Haaland did burn me earlier in the season, pretty soon into the season. So I think it was one of them that it just put me off. I didn't want to fall too far behind, so went for Haaland captain, which didn't obviously pay off. Just a 4 point trim, double to 8. Martinez doing better than I expected. Clean sheet against Bayern. Another clean sheet against United. I'm not going to speak about United this week, I don't think. 9 points for him. Lewis, 6 points. Vardiol, 3 points. Trent, 10 points. Another nice little haul from Trent. He's proving to be a bit of a decent value, really. I know he's expensive, but he's doing a bit. So Kulusevski only the 1. Saka obviously 20, great performance. Rodgers the 2. Brennan Johnson, who I brought in for, can't think of who we took out there. I brought in Brennan Johnson, who got me 10 points. I brought in Havertz, who got me 10 points. I took out Duran and I cannot remember, but my team is here. So 1 second.
Diaz,
Diaz, yeah.
Savinho?
Yeah, sorry, Diaz and Savinho, weren't it? Yeah. Obviously, Savinho, we didn't know whether Savinho were playing or not. It was the news that Grealish started, which I was like, he's expecting minutes to just drop right through for. So, yeah, Savinho out there. I'd only had him a week, so yeah, not
Pressure
what I
on them
expected.
live streams, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a little bit. I mean, it turned into a really good move. Savinho didn't even come off the bench, so it was a good move. Obviously, Johnson got a goal again. He was on absolute fire at the minute. And then, so you told me the other one. Who were other bloody
Diaz,
yeah. Who, again, he was benched, weren't he? He did come off the bench, but he didn't do it. Did he? Did he get 2 or 3 points? 2 points. So 2 really good moves that paid off. Obviously, Salah 3 points to top it off at 82 points. But over the last, 3 game weeks, I think the last 3 game weeks I've stopped budget building, and I have shot right back up into the upper echelons of all my leagues, and so yeah, feeling a lot better about it. And I've got a nice, healthy 57.6 million budget. So I mean, literally, I'm not looking at people rising and dropping anymore. I can just go off my gut and bring players in that I want for that week, regardless of whether they're dropping in price or not.
looks good. That's an interesting thing that you said, James, that your budget building hasn't been on the menu there. Did you say you were about 48?
No, 50. I think it's like 54 points.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I don't really last year I didn't really do much with I'd run the model and it would come out, and then even if the player was going down 0.3 and I was getting rid of a player who's going up 0.3, I kind of didn't think about it because it was the best move. I tried to add something in this year to go, actually, even though it's like 1 expected point worse off in the next 2-3 weeks is getting like 0.3 million team value better. So it's trying to, again, it's that kind of testing how much is like a 0.3 million is in terms of like expected points over the next like 2-3. Like you can do that in FPL. A lot of people tweet that in FPL, but it's so much harder in the Sun game trying to like how much is it worth. So it's kind of like just doing some tests and see. So I'm trying this year, was trying more aware of it this year. So like in Bremo, I kind of brought in, he was going up and he was high on the model anyway for the 1 game. So I've tried to do it, but obviously a bit missing that week. He's just always a bit behind anyway.
Yeah, the price changes are a bit more drastic, aren't they, on this compared to like FPL?
Yeah, it's really strange. It's not use FF stuff to try and gauge now, don't we?
What about for you, Ben? Looks like a decent week.
Yeah, not too bad. A very little red arrow, about 28 places I've dropped, down to 906th now. 68 points. Yeah, big game, Emi Martinez in goal. He only gets clean sheets against the top teams. Only makes when he plays against the lower teams, he concedes a goal or 2. So frustrating having him in goal, but
yeah, a proper good camera save, didn't he? Like there was one that he proper dived for that he didn't need to.
He does it on purpose, just for the cameras, doesn't he? Like loves it. Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna have to probably keep him for now. He's doing all right. Obviously, European keeper. Trent 10 points, buzzing with that. Delict. He was definitely one I was thinking of selling, but yeah. So basically, I brought in Foden and Trossard for Tillemans and Diaz. Yeah, I've just sorry.
Good moves, really.
Yeah. Well, the ideal move was to sell Delict and Diaz because Diaz was benched. We got the news, and Delict he got pulled off early, didn't he, in the Porto game? And I didn't think he'd be dropped for the league game, but he was. So I was thinking of bringing in. My initial thing was Palmer, and the best defender I could get to was James Justin, and I was umming and ahhing over it because both of them I probably would want to sell the week after, and I don't want to plug 2 transfers in straight away because I probably wouldn't want Palmer for the next week's single against Liverpool. So that's why I ended up going for Foden, because I liked his double game week next week, and I thought he'd do all right against Fulham. And yeah, Justin ended up getting an assist and a clean sheet, so 10 points for him. But yeah, I thought, well, I like Trossard against Southampton. I thought he could get a couple of goals. He's playing like in a bit of a rotation with Hazard in midfield and an attack. And then he ends up getting rested for that game, so that didn't work out too well. Now I've got a dilemma to whether to keep him for next week's double, which is good. Surely he comes in, Scott, yeah? Do you think?
Yeah,
back in the
I
team?
think he will. I was so surprised that Trossard and Martinelli were both benched. Yeah. I think me and Tony had a question on the live stream, and someone had asked, is there any chance that Sterling starts? And I was like, no chance at all.
Our resident Arsenal expert.
No, I was well shocked, especially with like
crazy.
Yeah. So it looks like on the FF stuff prediction, it looks like Trossard's going to go down 0.3. But yeah, the fixtures are decent. I've got good value in my team now, so I don't have to chase too much. I can't remember what I've got now, about 58 million, I think. Yeah, something like that. But
I mean, you're only offsetting it against, because you have someone in your team going up 0.3 or 0.2. It's just an offset, isn't it? It just means you're not going to gain as much as what you would this week if you wanted to bring in someone like him who is going down.
Yeah, well, he's got Bournemouth and Shakhtar next week, so I think it's going to have to be a hold. So the only player I really want to get rid of is De Ligt at the minute. Obviously, the Tottenham boys could be rotated in Europe, which is a bit annoying. So I've got Kulusevski and Solanke, Porro. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I might bring in some Man City players or an Arsenal player. Not sure yet. So yeah, Saka 20 points, Kulusevski 1, Foden 5. He got 3 bonus. Trossard 1. Solanke 6, Salah 3, and Haaland captain got me 8 points. Yeah, I was and ahhing over that as well, but I just like James said, Haaland was the safe captain, and that was my thinking. Because if Haaland did score a hat trick and I didn't have him as captain, and Saka only got 1, it could have been a big drop for me. So yeah, at least I had Saka in my team.
Yeah, it was the risk reward, wasn't it, this week?
Yeah.
We had a load of people in our Discord do Saka, didn't we, for captaincy? And they were absolutely flying. So fair play if you went there. Really good call. Yeah, another Haaland cap from me. Who did I take out? I took out Tielemans, and I took out Trent. Carrying on my run of whoever I take out the week prior gets the clean sheet. It was Porro the week before. Yeah, Calafiori done all right though. Who I brought in, Calafiori and Palmer. It was this week. Fancied him for Forest. Don't know. He actually had a really good game, I thought, but didn't. Well, got the assist, didn't he? But not quite what I was hoping for. I think I'll probably just keep him through the Liverpool game and one eye on having him for the double against Newcastle in Carabao. But yeah, Sells
starts in the cup, hey?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, if you do end up getting him for a single, it's not the end of the world, is it?
No.
But the Liverpool game's not ideal. But I've got a plan to sort of have Palmer, Saka, and Foden. So Sells got me 4 points, plenty of saves. I've got Lewis and Vardiol. I'm just going to be keeping. I'm thinking about having to take Calafiori straight back out again, which I don't like. I don't like having to do. Every time I sell myself on a player, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to keep them for this batch of games, and I'll take them out next week. Keep doing it. But it's because my plan was to get Foden in this week for James Maddison. And we had a live Q&A with the Discord, didn't we? And everyone was telling me, don't take Maddison out this week ahead of this double. So the other make weight would have to be Calafiori down to cash, I'm thinking, this week. And that lets me get Rodgers to Foden. Kulusevski, just the 1 point, is going to get a drop. And then my front two are the same as yours. But 186th overall at the moment. Just the drop, isn't it? The drop from not captaining Saka and going Haaland, I think cost me about 20 odd places. But if you'd have got it wrong, you'd go thousands back, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, nice and safe early doors, I think.
Yeah, it's a solid start, Scott. You don't want to be taking...
No, I didn't want to blow it.
Do you know, though, I don't think it was punty. And I was saying that on the live stream, that when you're choosing your captains, you're choosing your transfers, I think... So if you look at it, the best fixture, I would say, was Arsenal's fixture.
Yeah.
I think they had the plum fixture. They're at home against Southampton, who's been leaking goals, struggling back, really. Maybe overplaying at times. Obviously, at half-time, it didn't look like they had the plum fixture, but Saka obviously come out with a 20-pointer, which you would say is pretty much what you would expect from that thing. It's just that this fear of, because Haaland can just score for fun. He could have a crap game and still score a hat-trick. It is a fear of it, but I'm a little bit annoyed with myself that I didn't just do, because I always say, just as long as you can own the decision, if it goes wrong, I would still be saying, well, Saka, I still think Saka had the best fixture. City were playing a Fulham side that have been doing well. So I would say Saka was the plum fixture. He was the player. I pussied out of it. But yeah, if I was in your shoes up in like the top few hundred, I'd have probably just played it safe as well. So
the thing is, I know we said that the Fulham fixture was obviously a tougher fixture, but if I'd have told you City are going to score 3 goals, Arsenal are going to score 3 goals, who do you want to captain, Haaland or Saka? I'd be going, no, Haaland's bang, doesn't he?
Yeah, you'd be expected so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but yeah, well, we'll get
and a good record against Fulham as well. So
we'll come on to a few of our listener questions now. Quite a lot of them are for you, James, about a bit of analytics and about how you see the next couple of weeks going. But the first question from Patrick: what's the main differences in data models and planning with Dream Team over the other formats that you play? We did mention Europe a little bit earlier.
Yeah, and you've obviously got the like the bonus points. So I remember last summer when the game changed, there was a lot of tweaking that. Remember, I think I messaged on Twitter about where do you get this like certain data point from FBREF stuff, and FS stuff was asking the same question because he was looking at it as well. But yeah, it's kind of on those ones, it's just extra information because you obviously get more bonus points, player points. So it's just more data from FBREF to get that in. But yeah, like the XG, like I said earlier, the XG, the XA is all the same in each game. It's just then the different tweaks to get that in. So that's quite good with the change from last year. It's really good to see that, the points with the player points, those bonus points, and it always comes out like Doku, Maddison always up there, the best players.
Yeah.
So that's the slight difference. So the Telegraph's the easiest one because it's literally, it was with the tackles before the tackles came in, but that was just purely like XG and XA, and that's all you had to do. It wasn't much. It's just tweaking and it's really then the optimization model. So you get all the data and then putting it in, running the solver for the next like kind of 8 weeks. What that is. You just do little different tweaks. A spreadsheet. It's like 2 spreadsheets for every game. So it's it's not massive difference. Like the majority of the model is exactly the same over the other formats. It's just a tiny few tweaks here and there.
Did you put quite a big emphasis on like the bonus scoring? Because I had a little nose at your first team from Game Week 1, and I saw you had like Doku, Eze, Bruno Guimaraes, and Porro, who are all like big hitters for bonus. Does that weight quite heavily in the?
It's still the same way. I guess those players are more likely to achieve bonus points more frequently than more often, because I said earlier, you do it like a distribution, and they're more likely to get 3 to 5 bonus points a match. That's kind of like the likelihood of them getting that is more likely than a player getting a goal, or getting an assist. So I'd rather, that's where you like, from a analytical way, you like the guaranteed points kind of thing. So there's no different weighting. It's still the same. It's just when they're that high up, and if they're likely to play 90 minutes, then Eze is likely to get like 7 points. So what equates to like 3 bonus points, or 8? Those always come up top because they're likely to hit that every. Obviously, I weight them against the fixtures they're playing, the opposite opponents are playing. But that's why Eze and Doku's minutes was likely to be high with the injury to Grealish anyway. So, and then Bruno was Guimaraes was kind of like a 1-2 week. He was supposed to come out in Game Week 2, but obviously kept him in for a bit. But the models loves the high bonus point magnet players.
That's quite interesting, isn't it? Because we that's the sort of approach we liked early on, but we didn't have any sort of data to back it. It seemed right, didn't it?
Yeah.
I had Pedro. I had Pedro to start last year, João Pedro, and he was quite high. But he didn't have the data from Brighton. He was from Watford, but he was really high, and that kind of worked well for me last year. That was one of the things that went well. I had Pedro in from the start last year, and then I took him out just before he scored some goals in Europe, and then brought him back in. But he was high. That was one player I wouldn't have thought about, but he was high on the bonus points, and then he just came through. So that's kind of what helps with just players you wouldn't expect to see up there. Like Eze's in literally everything. Every solver is always everywhere. He's in all my teams. So when he hasn't been really performing from a goals and assist point, he's still getting the bonus points. And he played a lot of the games, didn't he, in the EFL Cup. So it helped.
Reckon you might get him back in for that double when that comes?
I think it's planning to. The model says to, but it depends what I do next week, I think, with the boost.
And then his question 2 was, what were the main things that you got right on Dream Team last season? And what do you feel you could do better this year?
The main thing I got right last year was do my transfer. That was what I could do better this year. I think it was just nailing. I think it helped. I probably had an advantage over like a few players who were playing the game for the first time with the new rules, is that I had the model set up for the bonus points. So I was quick on those players that you could tell that were going to get those bonus points, like your Pedro's. I had him for a long time. And then it helps having a good start, I guess, because I had a really good start. I think I was in the top 100 after like the first 4 or 5 weeks. And then as soon as you're like up there, it's unless you suddenly have bad weeks, you're always around there. And my chips, like the part of the bus chip was really good for me. So it just helped. And then, I think that was this year. I haven't played any chips yet. Might play a chip next week. And then, I haven't really done anything different at all. Maybe just a bit with the price, with the price changes, try to take into more account that if like I said earlier, a player comes in and it's getting me an extra 0.1 of a point, but I'm going to be like 0.2 million worse off. I kind of go, actually, no, I'll do the other transfer. But hasn't really changed much, like pure luck and variance, I guess.
I guess one thing that you might do differently to what we would do as non-analytical managers is like, would you follow, regardless of what your rank is, say you got to halfway through the season and your rank wasn't where you wanted it to be, would you still just follow the model exactly, or would you maybe, because we would take riskier pick? I feel like we would maybe start to take a few more risks or try and play catch up, but I'm guessing you would stick to the plan.
Yeah, I always stick to the plan. That's what I did with the Telegraph last year. I didn't change. I was going up and up, and I was third or fourth, I think, and it was trying to get me in to get another Arsenal defender. And I was like, oh, it's a bit of a risk here because I'd have like a block Arsenal defence. But I was like, well, no, the spreadsheet saying to do it, I'll do it, and that helped me win the game. But so I wouldn't change it if I knew I was out. It's cash leagues as well, isn't it? If I'm nowhere near the cash leagues, I could have a bit of fun, but it's a bit like different to FPL. You kind of don't see your ranks from last year's unless I record it, which I do every year to try and see how I get on. But you don't have a rank history. It's a bit like Sky. You didn't have a rank history in Sky. You could see, so you could just take your risks. So ask me in like 3-4 months' time when I'm still where I am, and probably be taking risks and stuff. Do something out of the box. Tweak a next minute somewhere, and it will have me captaining some random player probably. Just try and get in some random players. Like when I run it at the weekend, it's trying to get Tyler Diblin from Southampton this week to fund the move, and I was like, oh, because he's high up on the bonus points, I think. So it's like those ones. Sometimes I just go, no, I'm not getting in a Southampton player.
Graham will be pleased to hear that. Graham's got Diblin, hasn't he? Where's he sold him? He had him, didn't he? In our Discord.
I think he had Diblin to get Palmer in.
Yeah.
And Palmer got the 4 goals.
He'll have to stick now, hearing that. Stick with him. Stick with Diblin. Nathan's question was thoughts on a game week 8 goal boost. You've obviously said, James, that your model's suggesting it and you're liking it. What do you think, lads? Tony?
I don't mind it. We could go over it on what double it's best for. But as we seen last season with the part of the bus, the better weeks are what we thought was better weeks. It turned out to be one random week where people were just trying to get rid of the booster, and they ended up scoring over 200 points. I think with City and Arsenal, with the fixtures, I like them. So I think it could go well. It's just if you're set for it. I think you probably want to make sure you've got enough penalty takers in your team. I think there's things like Foden. I'd probably want Foden in my team for the goal boost, but then I want to see a bit from Foden first. I want to see him get some points, accumulate some points. Game week 8 ain't bad. I think we touched on last week. Was it game week 12? Looks a good one. I think there's plenty of opportunity, but I just wouldn't talk anybody out. Any double. As long as it's a double, you're not going to do too bad. It's not as dangerous, is it, as the part of the bus one? Do you not think?
I'm not sure.
I think the part of the bus was pretty scary. It turned out to be. The goal boost. Obviously, if you captain the right person on the goal boost, then it could be killer. But I think if you captain blanks, it's not that. What is it? 3 points extra per goal.
Yeah,
it's not that. It's not that scary.
I had a peek back at my Euros goal bonus, and I don't think I got a goal, did I?
Yeah, see, I'm not scared of your goal bonus. Your goal boost, Scott.
What about you, Ben? We did chat about it, didn't we, a little bit on the Q&A the other day?
Yeah, it's that international break before it. It's a bit annoying, like you're not getting the run of games, but it is a really good double game week for Man City, Arsenal. Aston Villa's got a good double. So Man City's got Wolves and Sparta Prague. Arsenal's got Bournemouth and Shakhtar. Villa's got Fulham and Bologna. Man United's got a decent double if you want to go there. Brentford and Fenerbahce. But yeah, I don't know. I won't go there myself. Tottenham on paper looks good. West Ham at home and AZ at home. Just because they're rotating in Europe, it's a bit off-putting. I've got a few Tottenham players at the minute. Obviously, Palmer would be nice to have in a goal boost, but it's Liverpool away, and he won't play in Europe because he's not eligible. So yeah, it's like target Arsenal, Man City, Villa, Tottenham. So yeah, I like it. I'm tempted, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do it yet.
Are we not safe for playing that chip in a Premier League double? Where you not like you say, Palmer, the Spurs assets. They're not playing these European games, or they're a doubt. So they're a doubt in your mind. Premier League games, they're probably nailed on to start. Like Palmer's starting both them games. Maddison, Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson. If you've got these players in, a double Premier League week is a safer option. Unless you're heavy. If you were heavy City, Arsenal, even Liverpool, I think you can get away with it this week. But yeah, just maybe a double Premier League game is safer if you have got them Spurs and obviously Cole Palmer as well. Yeah,
I think you want to nail the captain as well.
You
get 3 or 4 goals, then it's like loads of points. I've seen someone captain Palmer on a goal boost when he got 4 goals and he got like 90 odd points, just the one player.
I suppose that's the thing, isn't it? This game week 8 looks brilliant for Haaland as the captain. Like Wolves, I think have conceded the most goals, haven't they, in the Prem? City have scored the most. Then Sparta Prague, I think they conceded like 3 to Juventus the other day. So it does look like quite a nice fixture for him. How much do you weigh up having the best captain versus having the best all-round team?
Yeah,
I guess
it's true. You need your captain to bang.
Tough one.
I think I struggle with because the following week is the Tottenham Man City Cup game. So I'm trying to figure to myself, are they likely to play stronger teams, or Tottenham Man City likely to rotate in that game? Because then if they're likely to rotate, you think maybe then like Haaland, will he likely play the Tottenham EFL Cup game? Will he start it? Is it unlikely? So more than likely play both games. Like, will Tottenham be strong? They weren't strong in the last cup game, EFL Cup game. So then does that mean that they're likely to be strong against AZ midweek in Europa? And then that's what my conundrum, because if they're likely to play weaker teams in the EFL Cup and then stronger teams this midweek, then for me it's a no-brainer for me with the goal boost with the Tottenham players I've got and City and Liverpool. Because the Premier League double in game week 13, it just Man City, Liverpool play each other that week, so it doesn't really. That first one they play each other that week, so it's not didn't come out too well in my models for that double boost. And then I kind of like the same with the part of bus last year. Just I'd get rid of it. I don't have to worry about it in my models for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I like the one after that, the 16.
Yeah, game week 16 was the one.
What were you saying last year? You said don't do it over the Boxing Day before, because I like
Christmas period.
Yeah. I don't know what expected upset stomach for Christmas after too many mince pies is.
It's not that; it's the red cards in that first game, innit? In the 21st.
Yeah, so
I want Boxing Day off. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's like Cole Palmer getting too many like Yorkshire puddings stuffed in his face and all that. How on it's he going to be? But yeah, that's what I was saying last season for the part of the bus, and that's what put me off playing it. But yeah, I am eyeing that one up. I think for this season, maybe. We've got Nathan asking in the chat. Do you remember what week you played your part of the bus last year, James?
Game week 6, maybe. It's quite early on. No, maybe game week 9. It was one of them when I had a lot of. I had the Arsenal Liverpool. I think Van Dijk scored for the top of my head. as well that week. They didn't keep clean sheets, but the Liverpool defenders scored, I think.
Trent
I think I ended up getting
both scored the same week, I think.
Yeah. So I think it's like 67, 70 points I think I got that week.
Nice.
Along with the Arsenal. But yeah, again, that was a one. Just if it looks good, just get it, just do it done, get it done, because then I don't have to worry about it and tweak the models for the rest of the year. I can just have the same for the last remainder of the week, so I don't have to tweak it, which is always a bit of a nightmare.
Ryan Driver, evening from Spain, gents. Which game does James enjoy most and why? How much time would you say you spend planning for so many games on a typical game week to get such good results? Enjoy Spain.
So my favourite game was Sky, because it was just like the captains every day. So kind of with what Ian Parron's done with the Cloud is quite good. So I'm doing that. That's quite a good game. And then the Sun game was always an interesting one, because when you had 10 teams in the old way, it's so hard to try and do a solver, because you could do 5 transfers in that whole month, couldn't you? So but I'm kind of more going to actually the Sun games now. With Sky finished, the Sun games much better game to do, because you obviously it just involves every game, and there's so many different ways of getting points now. So definitely I think the Sun game now is my favorite game. Number of hours I spend, it used to be a lot, because you had a lot of games, a lot of teams, and I used to be stupid and have a different team. Like, so when the time when you had 10 teams, I used to have 10 different teams, and you just run it just forever. And it got to a point 2 years ago, and I was like, well, this is ridiculous. I'll just do the same team for each game. So that's why in the Telegraph last year I finished 1st to 5th, because I had the same team almost 90% of the season. So it's normally about 3 hours early in the week, just reset, like updating all the data, and then a few hours on a Friday evening for each over all the games and all the predictions, all the Super Brew stuff I'm in as well, and all the work stuff. So get into bed at like 1:30, 2 in the morning, probably with the wife going, "Is this what time you're coming to bed?" But she wasn't moaning after at the end of winning quite a bit of money last summer. Last season. So she's because okay, I can see the risk with the reward of why you work, stay up at night. So I don't tell her how I'm getting on this year so far. Yeah.
At least you delivered on it, though. I keep telling mine, one day we'll win it.
This time next year.
I told her this evening. I'm speaking to the genius. He's going to teach me how to do it.
Did you know when you finished 1st to 5th in Telegraph? Did you get all the prizes, or did they share them out?
I didn't get the 2nd or 3rd, so I got the 4th. Yes, I didn't get the 250 or the 100, so I got the £5,000 for winning. But you had I kind of kept all the same teams anyway, because there were so many other different cash leagues anyway. You had like the One League, the Twitter League. So but it's a bit like the Sky game. You couldn't win the 1st and 2nd prize, so you couldn't win like, what was it, 60 grand. You could only win the 50 grand. But they gave you you couldn't just win the top. You could only win one of the top 3 prizes, which I already knew when halfway through the season, not half, like 3/4, when I was up there thinking, I could do this, and it was like 6, 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams, and then it got a bit. Then it was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it got to like just like the FA Cup, and then I just split the teams and got more Man City in one. And I think I said in my article on the Hub, it was like the team that had the worst expected points won the whole thing in the end, because it had all the Man City players for the extra games in the FA Cup. But yeah, I need the £5,000 to win. Can't complain.
That's brilliant. Oh, it's amazing that, like, to get the top 5 in the same season.
Yeah, it's just a bit of luck, I think.
No, you can't build a model and then do all that work and claim luck. Not having that. That's class. Grommer's question: is there ever a max number of players from one team that you'd have? For example, would you be comfortable with 4 City players or 3 Spurs, etc. mid-season, or is the trick an even spread? What do you reckon? You go first, James.
No limit. So I'm likely to have 5 Tottenham's players this week. So if my model says they're the highest points, I get them in. I could have 11 Tottenham players if they all said they were the best players to get in. I wouldn't. I guess it's the spread of your risk, isn't it? Your risk appetite. But I don't really look at ownership. I don't look at what club they're in. I just literally have player's name and expected points, really. So yeah, never. Not a limit for me.
That's fascinating, isn't it? Not looking at the ownerships. That terrifies me at times. Looking at some.
You can kind of guess what the ownership would be, but I don't. It's not like I don't look at it and go if you ask me what a certain player's was, I wouldn't know. It's on my spreadsheet somewhere on a column, but I don't go. If I've got 2 players that are exactly the same, I don't choose the player that's got the highest ownership. I'll just see. That's then a vibes pick, I guess, if they're exactly the same, but one will be normally just a bit more. So I never. It's been the same in any game. I never look at ownership. I just go for what my model says is the best.
About you, Ben? Any limits?
No, I tend to get the talismans in my team from the clubs. This new Dream Team game seems to favour talismans, so it's a bit more of a spread of teams. But there is a time in the season when teams have a lot more fixtures than others that have got further in the cups. Then that's when you want to pile on a team, or a team's got a really good run of fixtures. You pile on there. So yeah, it just depends really.
Yeah, you've done a few blocks as well, haven't you two, over the years?
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, it dictates it, doesn't it? That fixtures, form. You don't ever set out to say there's a limit, or it's just how it is. Who's got the best fixtures? Who's got the best form? Blocks. I'd say the last season and this season, I don't think blocks are as popular as they once was, because I think you can get
the extra points,
possibly better extra points from elsewhere. You're not really relying on a clean sheet as seen last week with Rico Lewis got 6 points today. Calafiore got 6 points. Not kept clean sheets. They still got points from somewhere. So the block isn't as, I don't know. It's not as attractive as it was, because your points are coming from many other sources, if you will. But yes, I never ever put a max on any players, amount of players from a team.
Yeah, I can't say that I would have. I had 5. Would have had 5 Spurs the other day when I'd done that 12th man. Son.
Yeah, you did.
I ended up with 5. So yeah, not particularly no.
But again, so it's like you were following James's model without knowing it.
Yeah, maybe.
we all them Spurs lads.
Yeah, it's just the fixtures, isn't it? And I'm looking now at this, I'm looking at those City fixtures. I'm thinking I'd quite like a pile on there. If you knew for certain who was going to start each week, you'd definitely be piling on it.
Yeah,
it's a little bit harder with all the depth they've got both in defence and attack.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I can see myself going quite heavy City if I can figure out who's going to play. A few more. We've got evening from Miss Noopy. She's in the chat as well. Hey, we've got a lot of talk going on about Phil Foden lately. Do you think it's time to bring Foden in game week 8? And if not, when? James, what's the model saying about Foden currently? Because the argument is the minutes is the thing, isn't it? He didn't start a lot of games. He started a couple in a row now. What happens in that predicament?
It's he's high up on my model, I'd say that. So if I wasn't doing the goal boost, I think I would get him in this week. But with the goal boost, I think I just need to change one midfielder. But he's I've got him as the third best mid over the next 8 weeks. Well, 7 weeks. So he's high up on my list as well. I think even if he doesn't get certain minutes, he'll get minutes in the EFL if he doesn't play. But I can't see him not playing much. So yeah, he's very high. I would say he's very high on my list for Game Week 8.
So can't you get him in for the goal boost then?
I could. I just need to have a look because I think the aim was to do Henderson to Kelleher as well. I could do it. I mean, like having to take out. I think if I did Foden, I have to take out a defender, and I didn't want to do a defender move if I was on the goal boost. I think I didn't want to waste it. I want to do the 2 transfers. Well, maybe like get the goalkeeper out. I was having a quick look on Friday night. So I'll have another look on Friday night, but he's definitely high up on the list because I think if I did Foden on my own, there's a few permutations going around. Foden, Dibbling, getting them both in, taking out Rodgers and Bremo, because I think Bremo, if I'm going to do the goal boost, Bremo is the one to get out because he's only got one fixture and that's away at United. So he's the one coming out, loses price rise, but then it's just doing the other one because I can't do Bremo straight to Foden, so I'd have to. You don't want to then take out Rodgers, so yeah, it's just, and then I could just get Foden next week if he's likely to play in the EFL Cup.
Plum fixture that for Mbeumo though, is it? Away at United, plum fixture. They are 1 hour and 6 minutes before I've slagged off United. That one's for you, Charlie.
Yeah, I like that answer because I really want him this week. You went early, didn't you, Ben? So you got him last week to make sure you had him in place. What are you thinking, Tony?
He's just scored 19 points in 2 games, 9.5 points average last 2 games. He's top scorer, isn't he, Foden? Surely it's only a matter of time before he's back on fire and he's stealing some of those points away from Haaland. A good sign is I like the fact he got 3 bonus points last game. I think it shows an involvement. All right, he didn't get a goal, he didn't get an assist, but he's involved in that game. It's cool away with 5 points when you haven't scored or assisted. We always think that's a little bit of a win. The fixtures look good for City, especially over the next few weeks. I think, is he going to go down this week? I'd say he probably will, maybe 0.1. But I just don't, it's not enough to put me off. I think Foden is one of the people I'm going to be trying to get into my team this week.
Yeah, I want to just try and do it early because there's been so many moves this season that I've brought someone in after they've done the points. Yeah. So I want to try and get ahead of it, and these fixtures look really good. And like, I know he has had a iffy start, hasn't he? For whatever reason, not playing, whether they've been taking it easy on him, coming back from a long summer, or whether there was any fallings out or fitness issues. But we can only guess, can't we? But I mean, he started the last 2, he started 3 out of last 4, and then like in these last 3 games he's played, he scored 22 points, which is a 7.3 average. Last season his average was 8, so he's not. If you count the games that he actually started in, he's on par with what he was doing last season, as long as you take out the odd 20-minute appearance and stuff. But 55 bonus last year. It can't be a whole season. You can't have a whole season of playing out your skin and then be awful, surely.
No, it's not happening. he's in a potent City attack. The starts will start to bring goals and assists. Absolutely no doubt.
He's got James's team the week after. What's that going to be? 4 or 5?
Yeah.
Would you take out Palmer this week if you had him?
Would I take out Palmer?
Oh yeah. Would you take him out if you had him for Liverpool?
You want him for the week after, though, don't you? Was this was the discussion, weren't it, last week about do you put him in this week or do you wait? Because he's got the Newcastle double coming up, hasn't he? If I remember rightly. If you need the funds,
I think I'd only do it if you wanted to. If you wanted to hit hop to Foden and then you didn't have any other way to get to him.
Yeah, if you looked at it like Palmer versus Foden, you've got Palmer single game week in, Foden doubling. I mean, sure, it's a no-brainer, isn't
it? Clip this.
Yeah, I know. This is where Palmer scores a hat-trick and Foden goes off injured against Wolves.
Yeah. That was the thinking, weren't it? That earlier in the season, right before that, the 4 goals, wasn't it? We were talking about, could you get a doubler in Bruno Fernandes, or could you get a doubler? Who was one of the other cup teams? And then, Palmer goes and does that, but surely not against Liverpool. I'm not taking him out.
No, I mean, like you just said, if you need the money to go and bring another big hitter in for these good fixtures, then I'd be tempted. But then the next week, I'd probably want him back. If you think he's going to play the cup matches, he's one of the best for the double the week after. So, but then it's Man United away, which is probably a good fixture for him. And then he's got Arsenal at home in the single as well in game 11. So, yeah. I'd be tempted to go to Foden.
Yeah, I know. Then I'd probably bring him in next week.
What do you reckon, James? If you had him already?
I've never had Palmer, so I would do the Palmer to Foden move. Will he play the cup match? Did he start? He came on, didn't he, for the last AFL Cup match? It's just hard with Chelsea, isn't it? You don't know what they're going to do in that AFL. Are they going to go strong? Is he going to do? But even this week, he's only playing the one fixture, so I can't see the. And then obviously Foden, the one fixture next week, if he only plays one, is the Southampton game at home. So I would be doing the Foden. I would do Palmer to Foden if you wouldn't. I would do that this week.
Defender picks 3 mil to 4.5. Any that stand out? Miss Noopy wants to replace Timber.
Is Timber injured now?
I mean, he was missing from the last one, but I do sort of get the feeling that Arteta might have said, sit this one out. There was something there. He went off at half time during the PSG game. But I think if you are a manager, you say, let's not rush this back. You'll have your international break.
Yeah.
Then we'll see how you are. So I think he could be all right. But, I mean, Arteta's not going to say either way.
They're not going to risk him either, are they? Because obviously he's had a long injury layoff. If there is anything niggling him, I can't see much risk.
I probably would take him out.
I mean, Digne, 3.4 million. Obviously, away at Fulham, home to Bologna is a decent shout. One of James's lads, Romero, Spurs. They love, obviously the love for Spurs goes on. He's at 3.5. Yeah, the two. I'd probably go Digne.
I like that. Straight to Calafiori instead. Don't mind that.
Yeah,
he's in my top. He's the top pick in my model between 3 and 4.5 million.
Don't say that. I'm thinking of taking him out.
You'll be moving Palmer on.
I guess it's a minutes thing, isn't it? Is he likely to Timber and White are back? What he's going to play?
I've got a feeling where White and Timber have both had injury issues that I think Calafiori is gonna just play, and then they might just give one each to White and Timber. But even Tomiyasu's back in the mix now, so it does get a little bit iffy.
Yeah, I was looking. I really like Lewis, 4 million. Obviously, got potential chance of being rotated, but he's just been breaking the points in, and this might be the season where he not nails a spot down, but gets the majority of games, because Man City players don't nail spots down. But so Lewis is good, 4 million. I looked at Digne as well. He's on some set pieces, corners, 3.4. But then when I look at the Villa defence, Cash has just come back and he's only 2.7. And I just think that could be a good little gift to get some extra money in your team for another big hitter somewhere. So, 2.7. And if Konza's out even longer, Carlos, 2.6 is cheap as well. But it's not a long-term hold, but it might be one you could use for an enabler. But I prefer Cash for the 0.1 more. Calafiori was the other one that was on my list. What about you, James?
No, you said. I think I've got the Man United. I've got Dalot up there. I think.
Yeah,
I think they're coming in. Yeah, and they're coming into decent fixtures. I know it's United, but what is it? They've got Brentford at home. I know they've got Fenerbahce, but then they've got West Ham. But then, game week 11, they got Leicester, Everton, Ipswich away, Forest at home. So he's up there. Konsa as well. I had Konsa before, took him out last week, so he was good for me. And he's pretty nailed. So those two round the 4, and then kind of Udogie as well, another Tottenham mid. Yeah. But I like the Lewis picks again. The Lewis and Cash is just a minutes thing for me. I just don't know, but if they get the minutes, then they're up there as well.
Yeah. Dalot did really well for the bonus points last year.
That's why he's up there for me, because he's just And what isn't the left back? Isn't he now out for a couple of weeks or a few weeks with a?
Oh yeah.
Didn't he have a knock? I can't. So I don't know where Shaw is, how far he's back, but surely they've got to improve, I think. So he's a second best on my model for under 4.5 million for the next 8 weeks.
Mazraoui.
Yeah, I could never say it. I'll let someone else say it.
That's one that's sorry.
Go on. I was just going to say, it was just, I'd seen something on X. It's something about he had like a heart condition or something. But then it was like, he's only going to be out for a few weeks.
Yeah, when it's when it's the international break, that's the sort of news people are arguing over. It was I saw one account saying that he was going to be out for ages, and then another one no, he's just going to be out for a game or something like that.
Yeah,
so just a wait and see, I guess.
He's been doing really good.
And then finally from Miss Nippy, would you put Kelleher in if you had Martinez already? Thanks for your time and congratulations on your success, James. Bringing Kelleher in.
I'm tempted, but I think I've got other things to do in my team. It might be a possibility I might go there just to raise some funds, but it is tempting, but I'm not sure yet. just team dependent, isn't it? If you've got loads of other things to do in your team, the goalkeeper's the last thing I'll be looking at. But if you need the money, it could help out.
You're getting a nice rise out of Martinez as well, aren't you? Now
should do.
Yeah.
Should do. He's not really been going up much when he's been doing well though, so hopefully it will this week.
Yeah, there's no rush there, is there? I mean, Kelleher obviously is attractive now because he's probably going to have a long stint in the goal, and he's only 2.3 million for a European keeper now, which is massive. It is massive, and there'll be some people that are probably maybe sat on Sells or Henderson like you, James, and I think it's an absolute plum. It's a nice little happening for the managers that have non-European keepers. I think it's fell in their favour, but unless I need the funds, I just keep Martinez in there. I'm kind of hoping I never have to transfer my keeper all season. Maybe later on, obviously with European games, go to knockouts and Villa might not quite be in there, but yeah, I don't want to be chopping and changing my keeper unless I desperately need that 1.3, 1.4 million.
Did you say, James, you're looking at doing that move?
Yeah, I'm looking to do Henderson to Kelleher this week, just because I've got no other. Well, to try and get Foden, I'd have to kind of move someone else, like get Porro down or Romero down, so it doesn't look good. So if I literally look at doing Bremo to get someone who's playing a double for the goal boost, then the other move is I don't want to lose a transfer, so it would be just to do the Henderson to Kelleher to get the double game week, the 2 matches for the next few weeks, and then further down the line moving. But if you've got Martinez, unless it's a money thing, I wouldn't get rid of him. I think he's one of the better keepers, him and yeah, especially with the doubles.
Yeah, I think I'm going to put it off just because I've got Sells, and I don't think it's a bad. If I do it, it's probably going to mess up my Foden move, so I'm going to prioritise that. But I think I will do it afterwards. But yeah, if I had Martinez, I'd just keep him for another week, and then you can see if Kelleher then keeps 2 clean sheets or keeps a clean sheet, and then looks like he's going to get a nice rise, you could do it the week after, couldn't you? I suppose.
Because he's likely to play the cup match, isn't he? Because they're not going to play the third choice keeper, are they? Against Brighton, aren't they? Oh no, they're Brighton, but Brighton will rotate. They've rotated every round so far. So yeah, I just look at it. He's going to play 4 doubles, isn't he, in the next 4 weeks? So 2.3. It's a no-brainer, I think, for me.
Andy Barnett. This is for James. Massive respect not only on getting all top 5 places in TFF, but also your ranks in all the other formats. Now the question: what would be your top 3 golden rules of what to do, and top 3 golden rules of what not to do when navigating your team through a season?
I think we discussed this earlier. It's like,
yeah, you can summarize it.
My one golden rule is just to just trust my model, trust the spreadsheet, and if the player's not doing well, don't knee jerk. And I don't kind of, you've got the WhatsApp groups, you've got Twitter, you've got everything, and you've got all, all these people, I'm taking this out, I'm doing this player, and it's just not like James from Planet FPL is always good, play it your way. So I always try and go, right, I'm just going to do it. Because I always think if I go against my spreadsheet, I've only got myself to blame, and so at least I can go, well, I always prefer to go, right, it's the model's fault. It's if someone don't do well. So that's kind of what I've always done. And yeah, just the big golden rule is just not to knee jerk. Like there's a reason why you brought that player in. You can't I'd never try and knee jerk. I've never done that. I used to do it years ago in FPL and go, I'll do an early wild card after Christmas because it's just going well, but then realise it's never a good thing. So I always just make sure and just double check. And obviously the other golden rule is make sure you do your transfers. I will never forget about that. That's always I'll never forget it. Just in that supermarket, that will be with me for the rest of my life probably.
Are you swapping? You swapping where you do the weekly shop now? Can't face it again.
Can't walk down that aisle again.
It's because I have a whiteboard above me because obviously I play so many games. I have so many different transfers, and on a Friday night I write all the transfers so I don't forget, and I always have my alarms on to remind myself. And that it was obviously the second week of the season. It must have been maybe just me just not being fully focused. But I was like that morning, I was like, oh, should I check this? Should I check the Sun game? Should I just recheck it? Because I don't know I have much time on a Saturday morning. And I was like, oh no, everything's fine. And I got into the supermarket at like, when was it, at like 11 o'clock. And I was like, oh, I'll just have a look because the phone was pinging with the WhatsApps. And I was like, oh God. So I don't normally do shopping. That's the wife's job. So it's just only to pick up a few things. So maybe I had it wasn't I'll never forget it. Let's do it again. What are you, what's the matter, Daddy? Why are you all angry? Oh, you won't. I'll tell you. Oh, you won't understand now. I'll tell you in like 10 years' time, and you'll understand.
Tell you when you're older.
But yeah, those are just not knee jerking because that's in the Telegraph was quite good last year. I had like some players that it's like easy to just get rid of straight away, and I was like, well, no, he's they just keep him in. He's looks like he's not in the greatest of form, but the model says he's going to be good, and they came out good. It's like that. They tend to get back to zero anyway. If they could have bad, like negative XP one week, it's gonna flatten out over the course of the season. So it's just I never try and knee jerk and just play it. Always listen to James from Planet FPL. Play it your way.
Like it. And then do your shopping in the middle of the week instead.
Yeah. Well, don't tell the wife that I need to go to the shopping. It's always a nightmare that Saturday morning, just so with all the games and just thing. That's why it's the Friday night one, and the whiteboard is just maybe it's just been a bit not fully 100% focused this year.
Yeah,
the enthusiasm.
Was that Ben?
I was going to say, so that's your golden rule: don't go shopping during the deadline.
Yeah, I had a few times last year when I was like. Always like the wife was like, all right, we're going to go out now, and it's like it's literally quite near a deadline. Can you not give me like 10 minutes to have a look? And there was one with it's like a Man City game when Vardiol wasn't going to play, and I had him in, and it was like, if I'd known that, I'd have taken him out. So it's always a nightmare with deadlines, but it's like got to keep the wife happy, I guess.
It used to be a nightmare before with Dream Team when you could do transfers during the weekend, and you were like. Always making sure you was somewhere with a signal so you could
get the lineups.
Yeah, get the lineups and do the changes. It's not so hectic.
It's like
now.
the Telegraph.
Telegraph's the same.
Like the Telegraph, you can do
in between.
So it could be anywhere on a Saturday. Yeah, anywhere on a Saturday, and I could be just looking at my phone, going right. I plan to do this at like 2:55 to do a transfer for 3. It's normally like 2:30. I do it, and then you kind of like. But even when I won Telegraph last year, I still forgot to do a few transfers. So. It's not the end. I guess it wasn't the end of the world in the Telegraph when you forgot to do some. But in the Sun game, it's quite you lose the one transfer. So, or at least you lose one transfer at least, don't you? If you forget to, or if you don't do any transfers that 1 week.
Just on that, will your model ever tell you to not use any transfers?
I run it a lot last year to try and see, and it always said 2 transfers was better because even if you were like just using one to for a 1 week punt, it would always said that was better to do purely because you lost that transfer. So I always in my model just always put now just like I'm definitely always doing 2 a week, so I just put 2 in. So I did so I'd always use the 2 a week. I just figured losing out.
Novels, this one's for everyone. Which Sun Dream Team players do you respect and listen to when gathering your thoughts for transfers? Me excluded. Yes or and then there's the second part. Anyone we listen to in particular? I'm not sure about players you respect. You respect everyone, but I sort of get what he means. Anyone you listen out to? Fergie and Paul's Nip and Half pod's been good to listen to recently.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, both.
Obviously, I soundboard off you two guys, James as well, who is in Venezuela at the minute. But yeah, and obviously the managers in the Discord. Sometimes I put questions in there or got polls in there, haven't we? So people throw polls in there and see what people think. But yes, definitely tune into Nip and a Half as well. That's a great podcast. Enjoying it now with the bit more since the Sky podcast had to finish. They're putting a bit more interest into the other games, so it's quite interesting. And I've entered the ultimate manager this year to see how I get on, because I didn't do FPL. I didn't do FPL last year. Didn't bother. But I'm smashing it so far.
It's coming for your crown, James.
Yeah. I think I'm bringing up the bottom this year. That's how bad it's been this year.
And then for game week, hang on. Yes or no for these players until after game week 11, next international break. So taking into account their price. So do you think you'll be which out of these lot do you think you'll be owning? Foden, Salah, Trent, Palmer, Saka. I think I'm actually going to end up with all of them apart from Trent by next week. So it's a bit easier for me.
I think they're all yes. I think if you can fit all them into your side, obviously Palmer. It's tricky with Palmer because he's only singling, or obviously he's got the double Newcastle coming up, which he should probably play both. But other than that, obviously with not being in the European squad, it's tricky at his price point to then put him up against players like Saka in that price bracket and Foden, who are going to be playing twice. So I think they've all got to be in your thoughts. They've all got to. They're all good. Probably that's possibly a list of five of the top scorers at the end of the game, in top 10 maybe. So yeah, I think they're all yeses.
Yeah, definitely all in my thoughts, but I think it's going to depend on team news for game week 9 for me with Palmer, and if I don't get him in for game week 9, I won't be getting him in for 10 or 11. Well, maybe 11, but I don't think Arsenal at home is a bit of a tough fixture, isn't it? So yeah, but the other ones I'm on. What a free kick by Trent tonight, eh? You see that? That's all the Trent doubters will be craking in the boots now.
I want him to do it in the league, though. He done it last international break as well, didn't he? Did he get an assist or a goal?
Yeah.
I remember us saying it last time round, didn't we?
Yeah. You can just go off, can't you, in any game? It's just, I can see what people's points are thinking about selling him now. They've got the rises out of him. It's 6.2 now. So you've gained 0.7. You could move him on to someone else, but he's one of the last ones I want to sell at the moment.
Getting attached. What about you, James?
I don't think I would have Palmer at all. I think if money wasn't an option, you'd have them all. But Palmer just isn't, with his Europe not playing. He's just not high up on my model. And again, I've never had Trent. Probably just too expensive for me with my total team value. So he's never looked. So I'm always kind of with the way the points are. I think he always looks for those mid-price defenders, so you can get them more expensive players up front. But yeah. So but Trent, he comes out as the highest defender for me and the best defender in the game for me. So, but it's trying to get me to take out Salah next week. So.
Cool.
I don't know. It doesn't. I don't think it's a. Yeah, it's not a big fan of having Haaland and Salah because you can just get more spread of funds. I mean, obviously, then yeah, I kind of was trying to not include them both at the beginning of the season, and but yeah, it's trying to get rid of Salah. But again, it all depends what I do this week, I guess. But yeah, Salah's like the second best in the game for me, so I don't really want to get rid of him. But there must be a reason why the model's saying to, unless I've got a formula issue somewhere.
Yeah, that must be one of the ones where it's quite tough to do. Andy Barnett's asking in the chat here, How high is Bruno Fernandes on your model for midfielders this next game week? I think United must be a challenging one because, like, for us, like, we don't want to touch Man United at the moment. But I guess the data doesn't really take in any biases or anything like that, or do form.
Yeah. Well, for the stats and like all the passes and stuff, it's basically more weighted to the more recent games. But I had him in when he got his 2 red cards, which was great. So
in this format,
he's always high. Yes, yeah. So I had him in, but it's always and I have him in. I think I have him in every game. I have him in FPL. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, but he's like the second best mid for me over the next 8. But he's suspended. He's suspended for this next midweek cup Europe game, isn't he? Because he got red carded last week.
Yeah.
So I think, so he would be. I think that's what he's trying to do next week. If I have a look, it's trying to do the Salah to Fernandes move because he's likely, if he's missing this week in the cup, he's probably more than likely to play in the EFL Cup next week. So you're looking like, so in my model, I think he's going to probably play both games. So, and then he'll be back for the Europe game. So he's coming in for me accordingly, apparently at the moment. But all could change. But yeah, he's the second best mid for me. His underlying data is good. Like at the start of the season, he's actually printing up some real good numbers. He's just been a bit unlucky, I think.
Yeah, we were chatting about it in Discord because he's hit the crossbar a couple of times. He has looked okay, and then you see something like the 2 red cards or the way United's results have been, and you kind of think, oh, do I want to go there?
It can't get much worse, surely.
I think we'll probably pass on the last one from Magoo just because it's the key to doing well in Sun Dream Team last season, but we have covered it a fair amount now. And then adjustments compared to the old rules. You said you changed your model to include all of like the big chances created, the shots on target, the bonus. So.
And it's easier to do now with the 2 transfers each week. It's easier to try and put that in your model than the 5 over.
Oh yeah, of course. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, that was the hardest trying to gauge. So trying to plan, do you just do none? So it's a lot longer running the models because you have to kind of like do different variations of doing 1 transfer this week or 2 and then doing a long. So it's much easier doing it now with the 2 transfers a week.
Yeah, that's what on FPL review. Is that what they call the paths, isn't it?
Yeah. So you have to kind of like, with the old way, it's just like you have to run numerous solvers for it, whereas now it's purely just the one because it's going to be 2 transfers every week instead of like potentially 1 transfer this week, then 2 next week. So yeah, it's much easier. I think that's why I did well, wasn't it? Because I had an advantage that I had this model before and I kind of knew with the players both points. I know you've had a whole year and people, that kind of gap I've had, it's kind of gone now.
Nice. Well, I think that's all the questions. Should you do a quick jump on the leagues and then that's that? Bring up the old league tables.
I've got the cash league.
I thought you were going to go straight onto the ultimate, Ben.
I got the Tonic Cash League here. Top 3 is S. Irving, M. Fisher is second, and Ben Ellis is first.
Nice. Tag team in third, Paul McNulty and Andrew Ferguson. And in second, myself and Connor. And then in first, P. Miller and J. Miller. Still smashing it in that tag team.
You don't want to read out fourth? No?
Nah, who's in fourth? Go on, who's in fourth? Anthony Sutcliffe.
Just myself and Andy.
He's in the chat as well, Andy. Well played, you guys. Fourth place trophy.
We're back up there.
And we've got a Patreon only one.
Patreon only cash league. Where are you? The top 3 is in third, T. Gledhill, second, J. Mouse, and top of the shop, M. Tavares.
Nice one. You looking at the ultimate or not, Ben?
I'm not reading
Surely
it
you're
out.
top of the ultimate, Ben Lee.
Come on.
Well played. Yeah, I'm in 15th on that one. And Tony, you in this one as well?
I didn't join it, yeah.
You didn't join it?
I didn't get it in time. I wanted to pay in as well, but yeah, I didn't get it in time. I was in it last year.
Oh, I didn't do the paid one. I wasn't that brave. I'm in the free one. James, you got a brother in the ultimate? There's another Ingram.
Yeah, no, don't know that guy.
Simon Ingram.
And then
He was up
James
there top last year.
Who Simon was?
Yeah, he was doing well last year, I think.
Currently in 47th, James, but I'm sure you'll be flying straight back up there. Trust the process.
I'm a hoarder. I'm a hoarder for transfers as well. So I don't in the other games. Haven't used as many transfers.
Yeah. Nice. Well, that's been an interesting one. We've never really had a analytics based guest on Dream Team. I hope you keep it quiet amongst your analytic crowd as well. We don't want too many good analytics managers playing, taking all the prizes.
I think a few of them are now on the analytics Discord. There's quite a few of them playing now, I think.
Yeah, a few moved over from Sky, didn't they?
So,
and I guess when the rules become almost a little bit more like FPL, didn't they? So I think a few people liked that.
Yeah, a few of them are doing it. A few of them are doing it this year, I think. So I've seen a few names in the Ultimate leaderboard that are big in the FPL analytical world. So it gets even harder every year.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah. Thanks a lot. That's been an eye opener.
Yep. Cheers, James. Good to have you on, mate.
Brilliant, James, mate. Thanks.
Quick plug as well. If you liked it, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. And if you're interested in becoming one of our Patreon members, get access to the Discord, early access to pods. We do regular Q&As now as well. And then we'll be dropping an article, won't we, Tony? Quite soon.
It's coming out this coming week on the Hub and on the Patreon.
So you can grab that as well. But yeah, not long. We're almost through the international break. So we'll see you all next weekend. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.